China entered Russia-Ukraine war. So, welcome everyone to another video of my channel Learn with Snell Fox. So, in this video, we're going to talk about a hypothesis concept of what if China enters the Russia-Ukraine war. So, presently, Russia-Ukraine war is a really hot topic. So, we know that Russia has started this war, and there has been some bombardments and fleas, and a lot of chaos is being made. A lot of chaos is happening in Ukraine, and now Ukraine has given a counterattack to Russia. So we can pretty much expect that this war will not such easily stop. Although some peace meetings have been tried in Turkey, but there has been no conclusion about peace. So, and also a key point is that Russia has asked a hand in this war. Russia has asked China a hand in this war. So, what if China entered the war? If China entered the war, this war will turn into the most deadly war humanity will see till would have saw it till now. So why I'm talking like this, you'll understand. So first of all, as per our present conclusions or present assumptions, Ukraine is in the war, Russia is in the war now, China newly entered the war. But when China entered the war, no country will have a stop. More importantly, USA. USA will not stop anymore and enter into the war in the side of Ukraine. And the most important turn comes now. All the allies of USA and most importantly NATO will step in the war and will have a battle with their opposition. And also Japan and most not probably India. India it's a totally hypothetical concept. India's arrival in this war is totally controversial. We can't expect anything. So for now, we'll talk about Russia, China, America, Europe, and the two fronts of war we will discuss in this video is the Russian war and Chinese war. So let's go into it. So, first of all, the Russian war. So, first of all, the main players will be Russia and Ukraine, as we already know, and the next main players should be NATO. Okay, so NATO means most of the Europe is in NATO, so we can. Okay, so Europe will be in the side of Ukraine, as America is in the side of Ukraine, as we easily concluded it. So, but the main game would be with Spain, Portugal, France, United Kingdom, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Italy, Austria, or Poland, Ukraine. These countries will be the main involvements because you see, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus. Belarus is already a supporter of Russia. And these boundaries of countries will have a little bit risk, so their entering into this war is a bit controversial. So the main game will be carried by Spain, Portugal, France, Germany, United Kingdom, Italy. And Switzerland, a big no. Switzerland will not enter in this war as it's been the best neutral country till now. So, okay. We'll not consider Switzerland as this war. Okay. So, how could the war happen? This is the most important question. The war can happen like this. It can enter into Belarus and then strike Poland. At any cost, they will first, after Russia's first target after Ukraine will be Poland for sure. So the next point to consideration is France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and United Kingdom. All will be directing their force from Ukraine or Poland. So if it went through Poland, it will go and crush towards Belarus. But if it went through Ukraine, it will go directly to Russia. So the most probable case that can happen in this situation is most probably Ukraine case, because they don't need to face another Russian enemy. If they were forced to face that, then they would spend some army at Belarus, then they will have a loss of army, and Russia will have an unfair advantage. But if Ukraine, they pass through Ukraine, they have a good way to pass through. So what could be a possible way? Spain, France, Germany, Poland, Ukraine. So these countries are easily attached. We can see here, okay, Italy, they can go from France and go like that, and United Kingdom just enter like this or like that. So most probable case is that European army would enter Russia through Ukraine, but they will still use Poland as a part of a pathway. But we need to consider the attacks of Russia too. Russia will most probably attack through Ukraine. It's its primary move. But there are a little bit chances that Russia can enter like this, and even like this. It has an option of attacking through the sea route. But it's about Russian strategies. We cannot rely. This first phase of European war is completely unstable. Europeans will most try to get through Ukraine and first of all give a good protection to Ukraine and then go to Russia and crush and most probably get a peace treaty from Russia and controlling its powers. So, this is the first initial phase of Russian war. So, upcoming next, the China phase. So, in this China phase, there will be two phases. The one will be initial phase, and the second one will be final phase. So, first of all, you may have a small doubt here why I have included North Korea, South Korea, and Japan in this map, but China very less portion. Because in the case of Europe, as we have discussed earlier, the battle did not occur in neither Russia nor the major Europe. It occurred at the borders of there. In these three countries, Belarus, Poland, and Ukraine. As it happened like that, that would be the same case. Then who would be the bearers here? So if you got it exactly, the Korean plateau. So you see, the Korean lands are the kind of the mediators between the capitalist and the communists. You can observe some clear evidences. North Korea is I don't know what to say, communist or monarch. Anyways, so North Korea is in the favor of China, but South Korea is in favor of Japan and America. And so the most probable case happened that in the initial stage, the thing we're talking here, China will have a great attack on North Korea. China will use its total forces on what do I mean by here total forces? The remaining forces after it had sent the ammunition help to Russia and ammunition and army help. So the total remaining force will be indeed large and they will attack through North Korea, and in the initial phase these Korean boundaries will go in this direction. So why I have divided this into initial phase and final phase, you will soon find out. But would Japan sit calmly? No, indeed no. Japan would still send its army, but we are unsure about the initial success of Japan in this case. Because Japan ultimately can't face a big China and a super nuclear North Korea. They can face. And communists, they're pretty violent, okay? Anyways, I'm not discriminating anyone, okay? So anyways, so in the initial stages, the most possible probability is that North Korea will extend its boundaries. It will become vast and it will control the South Korea. So another point, what will happen to the BTS? Migrate. Okay, so I'll leave it. So this was the initial phase. So now we will talk about the final phase. With this final phase talking, this video will be completed and we'll meet in the next video. Okay, so the final phase. So now you will understand why I have divided it into this as the final phase, because this will be the final step in the Chinese phase. Okay, in this okay, in this war, this will be a twister, because We have neglected someone, right? Europe, no. No way. Europe was not neglected. Russia was not neglected. China was not neglected. And Japan was also not neglected. Then who was? America, exactly. Now it's time for America to show its power. So why am I including America in this Chinese war? Because Europe is able to manage the Russian war single-handedly. Don't you think so? France, Spain, Germany, Italy, United Kingdom, Portugal. These were the major powers in the 16 in the old times. Okay, so still they're having a great economy, and especially Germany, England, sorry, just a minute. Germany, England, and France. These are still great powers. So we can completely rely on them about the Russian war. So America is not kind of entered into a war still. You America didn't use its major powers, and it's time for America to use its powers. And first, the all the army and they will get into Japan, and from Japan they will go to South Korea. It's gonna be the final phase, and in this final phase, the Korean borders will extend in this direction, and the whole Korean plateau will be in democracy. To be a capitalist. Okay, so in this now, this whole part of land will be under the control of Japan and America, or we can say we didn't name it any sites, right? Allies Axis powers. That's good. Okay, okay. Anyways, so this allies will undoubtedly get this Korean land, and okay, so the most breakthrough in this timeline, we know that North Korea is quite not to mention, but their leader. Okay, so I think you got what I'm talking about. Kim, nukes, capital, and boundary extension. Wouldn't there be a nuke use here? So, if you think about that, that's a really good question. But the most probable thing will happen here is Kim might flee away to China for security issues. So, we can consider that there would be no nukes in this case. This is a we can't rely on this, but we can assume that. So, no nukes till now, and Korean part of land is in the control of Japan and America or allies. So, now, what will be the next part of the war? This final phase will end between the battle in the boundaries here. The American powers will try to go to the Beijing or the China capital at most chance, because if they got the capital, it's like the end game. China is out of the war, and they'll force China to sign the agreement of getting out of war, and of course they'll seize some powers. And finally, they this will be the most important part of war. I mean, in this China phase war, it will penetrate, and it will reach Beijing at any cost. The whole Japan armies, the whole Korean armies, the whole American armies are concentrated towards China, and China has who? Partial China, because China has given some of its powers to Russia. So this is undoubtedly, we can say that China will lose in this war. So in this phase of war, China is the loser, and Japan and South Korea and Invisible America, okay, these will be the winners. So what will happen next? Right, it's now the question. India, huh? Okay, so now India, right? Or no? Of course, no. It's 14 minutes, and this is the end of the video. Wait for the next video, and until then, bye bye.